Okay, today I'm going to go over a few key and crucial pointers on how to host a successful villain party. Not a prince party, not a princess party, not just any costume party, but a villain party. The reason being is the real appeal of certain villains, like Darth Vader or the Joker. First, I want to go over the right dress code. I'm not saying it's crucial, but the ideal dress code. Everyone, all guests, and the host should dress as a same sex fictional villain, ideally, a same sex Disney villain. In my case, it would be either this guy, Don Carnage, or Megavolt, whichever no one else is dressing as, because both of those guys are very, very amazing for the same reason. That's also, that's also to say it's ideal for no male guests to dress as Magical Dispel or Cruella de Vil, and ideal for no female guests to dress as Don Carnage, Captain Hook, or Gaston. Another ideal thing to add to the dress code is no pretend members of real life gangs like the Aryan Brotherhood, even though this is a villain party, even though many tattoos are okay, swastika tattoo or other tattoo associated with a very notorious real life gang could still be pretty offensive, especially to guests in their 40s or 50s oftentimes. A third thing is, it's okay to dress as a villain of a different skin tone. And it's okay because cats and wolves have different fur tones than we do, needless to say. It also says on Disney Wiki that Don Carnage is a Hispanic character, but I can't figure out why, but I do know he's a red wolf. He is, in fact, the very reason why saving the red wolf is important to me. But that's another story. Fur characters as well as face characters are good, without a doubt, because not all cartoon villains, and not all Disney villains are human. And once in a while, there's an animated villain in a live action movie, like in Space Jam. Fur characters as well as face characters are definitely acceptable and a lot of times ideal, because even at Disney parks, most male villains are fur characters, including Captain Hook. Now for the right decorations, the creepiest jack-o'-lanterns, not just any cheap not just any cheap illuminated jack-o'-lanterns, but the creepiest jack-o'-lanterns that you can carve, like a three-eyed jack-o'-lantern or a furious jack-o'-lantern. Small pinch of fake blood is ideal, just for an extra creepy factor, even if there are small kids at the party, even if small kids are invited, that is. Small pinch of fake blood, because that's such a good Halloween decoration. Then there are fake weapons, not any lethal weapons that someone can grab and use on the host or hostess, and not any lethal weapons that guests can use on each other, just fake weapons. Weapons for display only. Then there's a fog machine. Not a bubble machine because that would be super embarrassing, but a fog machine for an extra special atmosphere. Then there are other glow-in-the-dark items like glow-in-the-dark skeletons, glow-in-the-dark pumpkins, glow stick. A lot of glow-in-the-dark items would be good. Because villains are known to be dark. And chances are one cartoon villain or another was dark enough to traumatize you as a kid. In my case, it was Prince John from Robin Hood as Disney's all-time most violent villain. Now for the best cuisine. Bread sculpted and cheese sculpted monsters, because some villains are known to whip up monsters or even mutate a protagonist into a monster. Then there are hot dog people with chili dip. Hot dog people, in case you haven't seen them in a movie, are dolls made of hot dogs and held together with toothpicks. The main actor who I've seen doing that is Bug Hall in the movie Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. He and his fictional cousin did hot dog people in Chile with an erupting chili volcano, needless to say. Then there are marshmallow people with canned heat for roasting. Canned heat is something that you want to keep the youngsters safe around, but it's a very, very good thing, I think, for toasting marshmallows. And that also means you want the right sticks for it. Although you might be able to use plastic silverware. And there are fruits crafted to look like bombs. Bombs are one of many, many different weapons that villains love. Not that you want to launch a bomb threat, not even close. But villains love all kinds of lethal weapons. Finally, we have chicken wings with various spicy dip options. That would mainly be good for a spice challenge if one of the guests, if one of your many guests dares to try a skyrocketing spice. But you really should make sure that it's approved by the FDA and never, and obviously not try to smuggle it across borders. But even though, but smuggling or not, a villain party will definitely be legal. Definitely. Then there are best potential occasions. And there are many occasions for such a thing. There are anniversaries, whether it be an employment anniversary, whether it be a wedding anniversary. Anniversaries are a very plentiful time to have such an event. Then there are birthdays. Birthdays are good when the birthday boy or birthday girl is like me and they have a lust for villains. Then there's housewarming. Housewarming is good for when the host has a lust for villains. Probably a lot of villain posters, probably a lot of villain memorabilia. Then there's the obvious one, Halloween. A villain party would be a very enthralling variation. A villain party would be a very, very enthralling variation of a Halloween party, particularly when you don't want a lot of people dressing up as angels, dressing up as saints, or dressing up as princes or princesses, because all those costumes are not creepy, and you want a very creepy Halloween party. Then there are graduations. Again, a graduation villain party is ideal for one or two graduates like me who have a high lust for villains. And there's landing a dream job. Landing a dream job is always something to celebrate. Even if you later won't have time to celebrate because it's a time sensitive job, landing a dream job is high, can highly be festive as a villain party if the guest of honor is like me and they have a lust for villains. And there's retirement. Retirement is good. A retirement party can easily be a good villain party. Regarding the aging process, because at Disney parks, when a princess performer has to be recast because of slight wrinkles, I would think that she would often be recast as a Disney villain, like going from playing Belle to playing Queen Grimhilda or Lady Tremaine, because most female villains in their live appearances are face characters. Plus, a villain is usually not as young as a princess. Then there are additional festivities. Custom dartboards. This image right here is one of many custom dartboards that I've done purely off the wall. Then there's a Disney villain song playlist. You don't want Disney prince songs or Disney princess songs. You want Disney villain songs and more songs of Sinistry. But I'll admit, there's just one Disney prince who is a villain, specifically Prince Hans. Bobbing for candy is another good festivity because it's also good for Halloween party. It could be bobbing for apples. It could be bobbing for money. Budget permitting, it could be bobbing for various prizes if you can put them in waterproof packaging like candy usually comes in. And it could be a princess pinata because smashing a prince or princess is what a villain will usually want to do because that's, of course, who many, many villains want to face up again, want to face off again. Then there is Dunk the Prince or Dunk the Princess. You can not only do that with dolls and action figures, but you can also do it probably with any guest who dresses up as a prince or princess. Unless it's one of the very few princes or princesses who turns out to be the villain of the story. Finally, I want to go over what you should really leave out of the mix. You want to leave out all prince costumes and all princess costumes, unless it's a prince or princess like Prince Hans, who later turns out to be a villain. Secondly, you want to leave out all lethal weapons. I touched on that earlier, and it's just a safety thing, just basic safety. Then you want to leave out all superhero costumes, because again, superheroes are rarely, if ever, creepy, unless they happen to be super anti-heroes. Nonetheless, whether it be Nickelodeon themed, whether it be Disney themed, you don't want to leave out supervillain costumes because villains of all different sorts, both big screen and small screen, are ideal, whether it be Nickelodeon, whether it be DreamWorks Animation, whether it be Pixar, or whether it be Disney. You also want to leave out all first responder costumes, like all firefighter costumes, because to guys my age, firefighters are not creepy either. Don't get me wrong though, we have plenty of respect for the nation's firefighters and Coast Guard members. That doesn't mean we don't have a lust for villains. Because, needless to say, a work of fiction is never, ever complete without a villain. Ever. Madam Toastmaster.